The Buddha bowl craze has gone crazy over the past couple years, and I know if you enjoy going to your local Sweet Green, you no doubt know what one of these Buddha bowls are. But we figured today, instead of maybe spending $15 on a Buddha bowl that you can buy, you could figure out just how to make it at home. What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to the channel. My name is Dr. Vincent Esposito, and today we're going to be going over the basics to making a Buddha bowl. Now, Buddha bowls seem complex up front because they do contain a bunch of different varieties and textures and such, but that's really the key to it. Actually, each of the individual ingredients tend to be fairly simple, but when you put them all together, they create this complex, cohesive dish. Now, there are a few general rules that you want to stick to if you're going to be making your own Buddha bowl from home, and a lot of it's going to come back down to texture. So generally, if you're going to make a Buddha bowl at home, you want to have something that's crunchy, maybe something that's a little softer, depending on the base and the ingredients that you're using. A lot of these will kind of fall into place. So let's go over the basics, and we will start with what are your bases. So usually it can be a green, maybe a kale salad or arugula or something like that, or it can be something starchy, more like quinoa or even brown rice that we'll be using today. Then you want to have something that's sauteed or roasted to get some of those kind of cooked flavors in there. Think something like sweet potatoes or broccoli, maybe roasted broccoli. Usually there's a raw component, usually a vegetable of some sort, to provide some crunch and bite to the dish. There has to be a protein source, and if you are plant-based and been following this channel, then you're thinking something maybe like chickpeas or lentils. You could add something sweet, so maybe something like berries, or in some cases even sweet potatoes can fill that role too. You also want an acid somewhere, so that could be pickled vegetables or perhaps adding lemon or lime juice to certain parts of the dish. And of course, what makes Buddha bowls really stand out is some sort of delicious dressing that you put right over the top of the whole thing. So today we're gonna go over a version of a Buddha bowl that contains all those different factors, and we're gonna make each one of them step by step. But before we get to that, if you haven't started already, we are doing our online plant-based cooking classes twice a week. You could cook with me live. It's been going strong for a while now, and we're hoping to have some more people join the classes. It's a lot of fun. I love getting the input from you guys, and I think it's going in the right direction. So let's not waste any time. Let's go over all the ingredients we're using today, and we can get right into it. So I will see you on the other side. So let's tackle the thought process behind all these ingredients. So we have our roasted component here. It's gonna be our sweet potatoes that we're gonna dress up and pop in the oven. We have our crunch factor. So this is actually gonna be some watercress and shredded cabbage. That's gonna add some brightness, freshness to the dish. We have some chopped up cucumbers and red onions. We're actually gonna pickle these. So this becomes our acidic component. We have our protein, which is our chickpeas, and we're gonna spice those up a little bit. We're actually gonna use a curry powder to bring that all together. And then we have our dressing main components here, which will be a tahini-based dressing with some maple syrup and lemon juice. Then we have our desired toppings. Today we have some roasted cashews, and we have some chopped cilantro, as always. And these are the basic components. So what we're gonna do now is break down each component one by one, and then put it all together at the end. So we're gonna start here with the sweet potatoes, and we're gonna dress these pretty simply. So we're gonna start with some ground cumin here and some smoked paprika. This is gonna bring the base of our flavors. So we're gonna use this. We're gonna add some ground black pepper, and we're also gonna add some salt, and it's gonna be a simple seasoning here. We're really gonna get that nice roasted flavor. We have our oven preheated to 400 degrees. So after we toss these in a little bit of olive oil, we're gonna pop these in the oven, a preheated oven, already at 400 degrees, and we're gonna roast those for 20 to 25 minutes or until they're tender. Then we're gonna get started on our pickling liquid. So this is very basic. You want acid, you want salt, and you want a little bit of sweet. And we're gonna bring that to a simmer. So this time I used a mixture of white vinegar and apple cider vinegar. If you want to use just one or the other, that's totally fine. You need a little bit of sweetness just to cut a little bit of the acid, and a pinch of salt. And then once that comes to a simmer, we're ready to use it as our pickling liquid. So we're going to pour that right over the top of our sliced cucumber and onions. And then if there isn't enough liquid to cover it, we're just going to add some water right on top. We're going to stir this to combine, and we're gonna cover it, and we're just gonna pop this in the refrigerator. We're gonna cool it at least down to room temperature or cold. It's gonna take 20 or 30 minutes, but you just wanna make sure all those vegetables are covered by your pickling liquid. Next is we're gonna go on to our salad. So this is gonna be very basic. We're just adding the juice of 2 limes to our shredded cabbage and watercress. We're gonna season with a little bit of salt, and then we wanna give that a good toss. Now, cabbage is a little sturdy, so you wanna really get in there with your hands, kind of break it down a little bit. It'll release a little bit of water. You don't really need, oil or anything. Simply just lime juice will do. You can alternatively just leave this raw, but that's really it. That's gonna be our salad kind of raw component to the dish. And now we need to make our dressing. So this is going to be fairly straightforward. We're going to juice a whole lime. Now, the reason I'm doing the lime first here is because I can fish out the seeds. Now, if you have a lemon juicer, this isn't going to be an issue for you. But if you don't, like I don't here, I can fish out the seeds with a fork, and that kind of fixes it for me. So then we're going to go in with a couple tablespoons of tahini. We're going to go in with some salt, and then we're going to go in with a pinch of maple syrup, and then you'll notice in the Pyrex container I have some water. So if I need to thin it out, I'm going to add water until I reach my desired consistency. And that's going to be it for our dressing. That'll be ready to go. So let's get started on our chickpeas. So a pinch of oil, about a teaspoon or so of oil in a pan, olive oil, extra virgin. Then we're going to throw in our chickpeas. We're going to cook those down 3-4 minutes with a pinch of salt, just to kind of season them a little bit. Then we're going to go in with our curry powder and then season with salt and pepper to taste. So we want to get that curry powder in there, and we want to cook that curry powder down for a couple minutes. We want those kind of aromas to be released. So this is going to take another 2 to 3 minutes. You'll get a really nice, curry aroma going in your kitchen. It smells fantastic, but it's a great source of protein, fiber. It's going to bring a lot to this dish here. And now it's just going to become a question of putting this all together. So we start with a base of brown rice. I'm going to add some sweet potatoes. We're going to add some of our salad. We're going to add some of those toasted chickpeas that we just made. We're going to finish that with some of the pickled vegetables, some of that red onion and cucumbers. These tasted fantastic, and they'll last for a week or so in your fridge, so you don't have to use them all in one shot. Then we're going to add our garnishes. So a few roasted cashews just to finish the plate off, as well as some of that freshly chopped cilantro. And look at that. You have your homemade Buddha bowl. And just to make it look very pretty, add a ton more flavor, we're going to add some of that lemon, tahini, maple syrup dressing that we made. And there you go. You have your own homemade Buddha bowls. And there you have it, everyone. Look at this beauty right here. See, all that done. Save you about 15 bucks going to Sweet Green. And now, even better, I have all these leftovers that I can mix and match and use in different ways. So you end up saving even more money in the long run. So I hope you enjoyed today's video. This was a lot of fun. Please remember to like and subscribe. And again, we make stuff like this in class twice a week. So if you're interested, check that out. That will be in the description below. But until then, take care, and I will see you next week.